Okay, let's dive in. Welcome to the deep dive. This is where we take that stack of sources, you've got articles, notes, whatever, and just pull out the really key insights for you.
Yep, we're basically your research assistants for the day. We sift through the material you share, cut out the noise, and help you get up to speed fast.
Exactly. And today we're tackling a specific Australian digital agency, 23 Digital. We've got a bunch of stuff here, their history, how they work, services, client results, the whole picture.
Right. So the mission today is really to unpack 23 Digital. What's their deal? How do they approach things strategically? And what do these sources really tell us about, like, their strengths, maybe some challenges, and where they sit in that pretty crowded Aussie digital market?
So whether you're just curious about how digital agencies tick, or maybe you're a business owner thinking about your options, or maybe you just find it interesting how companies position themselves, well, this deep dive should give you a quick understanding of a significant player.
Let's get started. We're better than the beginning.
So where did 23 Digital actually come from?
Okay, so the sources trace them back to 2007. Founded by two entrepreneurs. Sounds like they had a shared interest in tech, marketing, web design, the works.
And they weren't always 23 Digital, were they? There's a bit more history there.
That's right, yeah. Before this name, they were known as Dream Consultancy. The sources flag this name change to 23 Digital as a deliberate rebranding. Probably for clarity, maybe a more modern feel as digital itself evolved.
Makes sense. So that means their actual experience goes back even further than '07.
Exactly. And it seems like, despite the name change, their core approach has stayed pretty consistent.
How so? What's the enduring philosophy?
Well, there's this recurring theme about solving challenges for brands we believe in, and also, very directly, create value for our customers through digital marketing. That focus on the client and delivering, actual value seems pretty central.
Okay, and that probably flows into their mission and vision then. What are they actually trying to do?
So their mission is stated as to create value for our customers through digital marketing, and they get more specific. A key goal is to empower SMEs to grow.
SMEs, small to medium enterprises.
Right. And the how is using the latest web and digital marketing campaigns. Boost online presence, lift revenue, keep them competitive. The vision pretty much mirrors that.
And they have specific core values guiding this.
5 main ones listed. Kaizen, that's about continuous learning, improvement. Super important in digital, obviously.
Obviously.
And customer success. This idea that their success is our success. So partnership, excellence, collaboration, working with SME clients, not just for them, and integrity. Honesty, ethical stuff.
And what about the team itself? How do they describe the internal vibe?
Let's talk about a multinational team of awesome people. Words like dynamic, passionate, in love with our work. Even dreamers pop up.
Dreamers, okay.
Yeah, and they say they create a space for innovation, suggesting, a culture that encourages trying new things.
So connecting this back to you, the listener, especially if you're in an SME, what's the significance of this strong focus on empowering businesses like yours?
Well, it feels like their whole setup, the values like collaboration, the mission, it seems intentionally geared towards SMEs.
Right, not just applying a big corporate template. It's just they want to be more of a partner, understanding that SMEs often need help scaling, not just like one-off projects. That alignment seems key in the sources. Okay, let's shift from the philosophy to the practicalities. Where are they actually based?
Their main HQ is in Melbourne. The sources give the address.
Yeah.
Level 1, 6163 Wellington St. Kilda.
But not just Melbourne, right? They have a wider reach.
Correct. That's important. They also have offices listed in Sydney and Brisbane. There's even a specific address for Sydney and Balcombe Hills.
So what does that multi-city presence tell us?
It signals they're set up to serve clients nationally, not just remotely, but with some local presence in key Australian business hubs. It speaks to their capacity and ambition.
And contact details, if someone wanted to get in touch.
Main phone number is 1300-233-444. And for email, there's payush@23digital.com.au, presumably the MD, Piyush Kotadia, and a general one, engage@23digital.com.au.
Standard office hours.
Yep, Monday to Friday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Closed weekends. And there's a handy summary table in the sources pulling it together. Official name, 23 Digital, former name, Dream Consultancy, founded 2007, HQ, Melbourne, other spots, Sydney, Brisbane, employee range, 5249, and the website, 23digital.com.au.
That employee range, 50 to 249, That puts them squarely in the mid-sized agency category, doesn't it?
It does. And that size suggests they've got the team, the resources to handle bigger, more integrated projects. You need that kind of scale to back up the broad service list we're about to get into.
Right. The sources mentioned the team having super skills and a unique structure.
Yeah, that size implies a certain level of operational maturity, probably more capacity than a smaller boutique place. They can likely handle clients scaling up without getting stretched too thin.
Okay, so with that team size and national reach, let's dig into what they actually offer, the sources call them.
A multidisciplinary and integrated digital marketing agency. Basically, they're saying, we do it all under one roof. The one-stop shop idea.
And what's the thinking behind how they deliver these services?
It seems to center on creating the best experience for the customer, the end user. But crucially, it's tied to getting results for the client. Specifically, increasing return on investment.
ROI focus, got it. And they mention their method.
Very clearly. It's based on testing and results. They promise no jargon, no guesswork, just smart decisions backed by data and expert insights. So data is king.
Any specific frameworks mentioned?
Yes, they use things like the RACE framework for strategy that's reach, act, convert, engage. It's a common model for mapping the customer journey. They also talk about their own 4-pillar approach. Strategy, create, connect, and convert.
Okay, let's get into the specifics. The service list is pretty long.
It really is. It covers a lot of ground, which fits that integrated claim. Starts with the basics, like digital strategy, obviously. Then web design and development, UX, UI, responsive design, call to action funnels.
And platform-wise, they seem flexible.
Very. They list WordPress, Drupal, but also more enterprise stuff like Headless CMS, Kaneko, Umbraco, Sitecore, so they can handle different tech stacks.
And e-commerce is a big piece too.
Definitely. E-commerce web development focused on conversions and ROI. They're a Shopify Plus partner, which is significant, but also work with Magento, WooCommerce, BigCommerce.
Okay, so building the site. What about getting people to the site? Paid ads, PPC?
Yep. Paid media advertising covers keyword research, campaign audits, display ads, programmatic, Google Shopping, the whole suite.
And organic traffic, SEO.
Comprehensive SEO services. They talk about revenue-driven SEO, local, national, technical audits, backlinks, content creation. They even mention platform-specific SEO for BigCommerce and WooCommerce.
Social media content.
It's covered. Social media marketing strategy, lead gen, content creation across Facebook, Insta, LinkedIn, YouTube, even TikTok. Plus, dedicated content marketing focused on conversion and email marketing too.
Wow. Anything on the more technical integration side?
This is where it gets interesting. They offer HubSpot CRM services as an implementation partner and, importantly, ERP CRM integration.
Connecting the big back-end system.
Exactly. Linking things like MYOB, SAP Business One, Attaché, Microsoft Dynamics, NetSuite, Salesforce. That's complex stuff, needs real technical depth.
Suggests they can handle bigger, more complex clients.
It does. They also list mobile app development, Android and iOS, hybrid and native and custom software development, like web apps. And underpinning it all, data and analytics, web analytics, conversion audits.
Phew, that is genuinely comprehensive. So for you listening, what's the big picture takeaway from an agency offering all of that?
Well, the appeal is obvious, right? One partner to manage everything digital. Website, ads, social, CRM integration, maybe even a custom app. It simplifies things hugely for a growing business.
Avoids juggling multiple vendors.
Exactly. But, and this is the flip side, keeping genuinely deep, cutting-edge expertise sharp across every single one of those areas,
Yeah.
That's a massive challenge.
Especially with how fast things change.
Totally. Their ability to deliver quality across that whole spectrum is key. The evidence, like case studies and partnerships we'll get to, suggests they manage it, particularly where they have those specific certifications.
All right, who are the people driving this? Who's leading 23 Digital?
The sources point to 2 agency directors. Piyush Kodadia, who's also the managing director, focusing on strategy, UX, e-commerce, and Ruchir Parekh, who's also the sales director.
And below them, what's the structure like? They mentioned a unique structure earlier.
Yeah, the sources list other key roles, suggesting a departmental setup. There's a head of digital, SEO manager, head of paid media, head of web, senior UI UX designer, senior content manager, finance manager.
So specialized teams.
Seems like it. Which you need to cover all those services effectively, right? It shows dedicated leadership within disciplines, backing up that super skills claim.
And we know the size, 249 people. How else do they talk about the team?
They mentioned the multinational aspect again, and there's that slightly playful description, superheroes cooking up a storm.
Yeah.
And that unique structure they refer to. They believe it helps them create more value faster and more efficiently.
So what does seeing this kind of structure, directors, heads of department, the overall size, suggest about how they operate?
It really points to operational maturity, I think, and significant capacity. Having dedicated leads for key areas like SEO or paid media means they likely have established processes, experienced oversight.
Makes sense for managing diverse projects and maintaining quality.
Yeah, it implies they've got the organizational setup needed to tackle complex client work and deliver on that integrated promise.
Okay, let's talk clients. Who are they actually working for? Who's their ideal customer?
They talk about small to medium businesses like yours wanting to grow, but the sources get more specific. It's more like established SMEs and enterprise businesses focus on growth.
So not really brand new startups?
Doesn't seem like it. They say their ideal clients have experienced success and are ready to take their computer to the next level. And remember that $10,000 plus minimum project size from their Clutch profile. That signals they're looking for clients ready for a serious investment in growth.
Makes sense. What industries are these clients in? It sounds quite varied.
It is pretty diverse. Automotive, fashion, retail, government, IT, nonprofit, sports. Looking at specific examples, there seems to be a strong showing in e-commerce retail brands like Aussie Disposals, Office Choice, Nacio.
All right, we saw that.
And sports too, Cricket Victoria, Brooks Running, but also industrial B2B like HY Deidre, technology like Verbatim, food and bev like Deeds Brewing, healthcare like East Bentley Dental, even education like Anzuk.
So quite broad, but maybe some sweet spots in retail and sports.
Seems that way based on these examples.
How do they show the impact they have for these clients?
Case studies are big for them, and the focus is very much on quantifiable results, hard numbers.
Any standout examples?
Yeah, some impressive ones mentioned. Cricket Victoria, 3x traffic, sessions 150% longer, bounce rate down 95%. Brooks Running, 180% organic traffic boost, 3x revenue growth.
Wow.
HYDC, 400% marketing ROI, lower cost per lead. Aussie Disposals, huge visitor surge, 74,000 a month, skyrocketing sales. Science and Sport, scalable e-com with NetSuite integration. East Bentley Dental, 245% conversion increase. Specific, measurable stuff.
Okay, so the case studies show results. What about general client feedback? Reviews.
On Google Reviews, they score well. An excellent 4.5 out of 5 stars, and that's from 224 reviews, which is a decent number.
And most are positive.
Overwhelmingly, 189 out of 224 are 5-star.
What are people praising?
Often specific staff members, their care, attention, customer service. Responsiveness comes up a lot. Good quality work, especially websites. Good communication. Seeing results, feeling it was worth the money.
Any negative feedback mentioned? It can't all be perfect.
No, and the sources do mention a couple. One felt a quote was too premium for a theme migration and described a frustrating interaction with someone named Matt. Another review praised the initial build but mentioned issues after launch, poor content, disputed charges.
How do they seem to handle complaints?
Well, one of those negative reviews was apparently updated later to say Vanessa has resolved the matter. So that suggests they do engage and try to fix things, which is a positive sign.
Okay, what about other platforms like Clutch.co, which is big for B2B reviews?
Right. They do have a profile on Clutch. It shows details like that $10 K minimum project, hourly rate, $150, $199, employee size. But UT, and this is interesting.
What?
The sources explicitly note there are no actual client reviews published on their Clutch profile page itself. The profile exists, but 0 testimonials or project reviews visible there.
Huh. That seems odd for an agency targeting businesses.
It is noteworthy, yeah.
Yeah.
Especially since the sources show other agencies do have reviews on Clutch. It stands out.
But they do have testimonials on their own website.
Yes, definitely. Quotes like clients immediately felt comfortable, being very impressed, responsive and on time, and crucially, our results are growing every year. That last one reinforces the long-term growth idea.
So putting it all together, strong case studies, lots of good Google reviews, but this gap on Clutch, what's the overall picture of client experience?
It looks like they can deliver significant measurable results, especially in areas like e-commerce, SEO, and paid ads. The case studies show that. The Google reviews suggest high general satisfaction with their team and service.
What about the Clutch thing?
Yeah, the Clutch gap is a bit of a puzzle. Maybe they haven't focused on getting reviews there. Maybe their clients just aren't active on Clutch. Hard to say from the sources. But if you were a business using Clutch to find an agency, you'd notice that lack of reviews there.
So mostly positive results driven, but maybe less visible on certain B2B review platforms compared to some competitors.
That seems a fair summary based on this info.
Okay, so how does all this add up in terms of their standing in the wider industry in Australia?
A really key point, something they highlight a lot, is their Google partner status. They're certified. But it's more than that. They're ranked in Australia's top 3% Google partners for proven expertise.
Top 3%? That sounds significant.
It absolutely is. Getting into that elite tier isn't easy. The sources explain it involves strict requirements, staff certifications, managing significant ad spend, and consistently delivering strong performance and growth for clients on Google platforms.
So it's a real validation.
Definitely. It signals high-level proficiency, especially in Google Ads. It's a strong trust signal and a clear competitive edge.
Any other key partnerships mentioned?
Yes, they're also a Shopify Plus partner and a HubSpot implementation partner. So recognized expertise in those major e-commerce and marketing automation platforms too.
What about industry awards? Sometimes agencies list those.
Interesting point. The sources actually mention lists of digital marketing award winners in Australia, but 23 Digital is not explicitly named as a winner on those lists provided.
So they push the Google partner status hard, but maybe not awards.
It seems that way from this material. It could mean several things. Maybe they don't actively chase those specific awards. Maybe any wins aren't in these sources. Or maybe their focus for validation is less on awards for, say, creative campaigns and more on the measurable business results and those high-level partner statuses like Google's top 3%.
Plausible. And the market they're in. Competitive.
Hugely competitive.
Yeah.
Initially in Melbourne, Sydney, Brisbane. The sources even list some direct competitors by name: CBO, Bonfire, Reload Media, August. It's described as densely populated. You need to stand out.
So based on everything, what are their main differentiators according to these sources?
Okay, number one, their history. Going back to 2007 gives them longevity. 2, that comprehensive integrated service model, the one-stop shop idea.
Right.
3, their clearly defined target market, those established, ambitious SMEs ready to invest. 4, that elite Google partner status, top 3% is a big one. And 5, their portfolio of results, the specific case studies and strong Google reviews backing up their claims. It feels like they rely on that blend of experience, breadth, key technical credentials, and proven performance.
Okay, let's try and bring this all together. Strategic outlook. What are the core strengths we've seen?
Well, the comprehensive service range is definitely a strength. Their long history and experience, the focus on measurable results, that ROI. The elite Google partner badge is huge. Their client-centric values seem genuine. National presence, the specialized team structure, and generally those positive Google reviews.
And on the other side, potential challenges or things to consider.
Maintaining deep expertise across that very broad service list is an ongoing challenge, for sure. The visibility on platforms like Clutch seems lower than perhaps expected. Ensuring consistent quality across a large team and diverse services is always tough. And of course, that super competitive market they're in.
So summing up their market position based on all this.
They seem very clearly positioned as a premium, results-driven digital partner. They're not going for bargain hunters. They're targeting established and ambitious SMEs and mid-market businesses in Australia.
And everything supports that.
Yeah, the complex services like ERP integration, the strategic frameworks, the top-tier Google status, that $10K plus minimum project fee, the focus on ROI, it all points to that premium, results-focused positioning.
What does that suggest about what they want to be for their clients? Their aspiration?
It strongly suggests they're aiming beyond just being a vendor. They want to be seen as a long-term strategic growth partner. You don't offer complex system integrations or major replatforming if you're just looking for one-off campaigns.
Right, those are foundational changes for a business.
Exactly. They're for businesses serious about scaling significantly. And those testimonials mentioning results growing every year, plus the customer success value, it all points to wanting sustained partnerships, helping companies grow over the long haul. They're targeting businesses ready for that level of investment and partnership. So to wrap up based purely on these sources, 23 Digital comes across as a very established, capable, full-service agency in Australia. They know who they're targeting: ambitious, established SMEs and mid-market players. They leverage their history, their wide service range, key partnerships like the Google one, and a track record of client results to make your case as a significant growth partner.
Okay, so that wraps up our deep dive into 23 Digital. We've seen they're a comprehensive agency in Australia, really zeroing in on those growth-ready SMEs and enterprises. We've touched on their history, that broad service list, their focus on results, showing case studies, that important Google partner status, and the generally strong client reviews, alongside maybe a point about visibility on specific B2B platforms like Clutch.
Yeah, the overall picture from the sources is definitely an agency positioning itself as a strategic partner for the long haul, not just project work.
So given that breadth of services and that stated goal of being a strategic partner, here's something to think about for you. What does it really take for a business, on your side, to genuinely shift gears and engage an agency like this, not just as a vendor doing tasks, but as a core ally in achieving significant long-term growth? What needs to change internally?
That's a great question. It's about more than just budget, isn't it? It's about internal alignment, trust, sharing data, integrating them into your strategic thinking. Definitely something to chew on if you're considering that kind of agency relationship.
Absolutely. Well, that's it for this deep dive. We hope you feel better informed about 23 Digital and the whole idea of engaging an agency as a strategic partner.